Hi, Bashar.
Hi, you. Good day.
I need to take a couple deep breaths.
Oh, all right.
My question is about oversouls
Oversoul.
and how a unique spirit or a soul interacts with it after we leave our body.
Well, the idea can be experienced. Well, I'll put it in this sort of artistic euphemism, if I may.
Of course.
The oversoul is like a collection of soul material. It extends itself into different individuated souls. The individuated souls could be considered like unfired clay.
Okay.
Choosing to have a physical life experience fires that soul into the crystalline structure of the spirit, which now contains all the experience of that life, and then imparts all that experience back up to the oversoul, which experiences all the different extensions all at the same time.
Can the individual spirit put the oversoul cap on, so to speak, or have the perspective of the oversoul, in a sense?
An individual spirit cannot have the perspective of the oversoul.
Okay.
Exactly. It can have a version of the idea, its version of the idea, relative to what it understands, relative to its perspective, but it will not be exactly the perspective of the oversoul by definition, because it's not the oversoul. It's not acting as the oversoul. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It is the oversoul, but it's not acting as the oversoul. It's acting as the individual spirit. And because it's acting by definition as an individual, then by definition, it's not going to have the same kind of collective vision that the oversoul does by its nature. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
but you can have your version of that idea. You can have glimpses of it, but you will only get the glimpses as far as you need to apply that idea in your life in a relevant way to you as an individual expression. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now, one other thing I would like to remind you all of, and again, this will be somewhat poetic. I'll just put it this way. Non-physical reality, or spirit if you wish, is more true to what you might call your natural state. You understand?
Yeah.
You don't actually leave spirit and come to physical reality. You're still in spirit right now, having a physical dream while you're there. You never leave heaven. Ever. You're in heaven now, having a dream that you're not. But you never, ever actually leave. There is nowhere to go. Remember the second law? There is only here and now. So everything that happens has to happen here and now, but it happens in a different frequency of consciousness so that it doesn't appear to be happening in the same here and now, but it is. So while you're experiencing this idea, this concept called physical reality, where my soul, my spirit has left the spirit world and encased itself in a body and is traveling around in physical reality, and someday I will die and my spirit will go back. That's the experience from your point of view. That's the illusionary experience, and the experience is valid. The experience is a real experience, but that's not an accurate description of what's actually happening mechanistically. You never leave. You're just dreaming that you have. So wake up. That's what this is all about. It's waking up and remembering that you're already where you prefer to be. Ironically, that means that when you create this experience and forget all this, and you have to remember all this through the process that you're going through in order to discover yourself from a new perspective, the irony is, because many times when you go to sleep at night, you actually expand your consciousness back into your natural state. And when you wake up in the morning, your consciousness is simply focusing down to the idea of the physical dream, the physical experience. So the irony is that when you go to sleep and dream, you're actually waking up. And when you wake up in the morning, you're actually going to sleep. You understand?
Yeah. Yes.
That's the irony. That's the paradox of this experience.
My other question was about foods that, well, more like permission slips that help cleanse your pineal gland.
Yes. What about it?
Any specific foods that would assist with that?
Well, first and foremost, as always, a thorough detoxification of the entire body will help with any functioning of any gland or organ in the system. Yes?
Yeah.
Secondarily, putting in healthy, nutritious food will also help the body align itself. Removing stress from the system, going into peaceful states will also help cleanse all these energies and the organs of the body. Specifically for the pineal gland, you may find that a few almonds a day may be of great assistance.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. As a permission slip.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, pleasant dreams to you.
Pleasant dreams.
Hi, Bashar.
I knew you. Good day.
Hi. I'm nervous. Okay.
Speak up, speak up.
So I just have a question. I just moved into a home with 3 beautiful people, and I have a lot of fear.
About what?
Fear of getting hurt.
Hurt by whom?
By the people in the house.
Then why did you move in there?
Because I want to be loving and change.
You want to be loving? Start with yourself.
How do I do that?
What is it about yourself that you find unlovable?
I don't know.
Sure you do. Can't lie to us. Of course you do.
I think I just have problems trusting myself even. Like, I don't know where to start.
What do you find unworthy about yourself?
Everything.
Are you really stumped?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. What other fears do you have? Oh, the list is so long. Where do I
Yeah.
begin? Just start anywhere. What other fears do you have? Which means, what other negative definitions about yourself do you have? But you can express them as fears if you wish.
Okay.
Remember how I said you can't have an emotion without a definition first?
Yeah.
So when we're asking you what other fears you have, you realize we are asking you to explore your definitions, but you can state them in the form of emotions.
Okay.
So, what else are you afraid of other than the idea of being attacked by people?
I guess that's really it, that they won't like me, really, or
They don't
that if
like
I come
you?
out and like really be myself, which I don't really know who that even is,
Why do
that they won't like that.
Why do they need to like you? Why do you need them to like you? Can you answer that? Why do you need them to like you? Why is that so important that they like you? Are you
Yes.
basing your entire worth on whether or not they like you? If they don't like you, you're going to feel less than them? Less deserving of something? Yes?
Yeah.
Why do you need them to like you? What will happen if they don't? Here's a good way to find out your definitions. There are 2 ways to approach this primarily. You can ask yourself when you're feeling something, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel the way I do? That's one. The other way, what we're exploring right now is, what am I afraid will happen? What am I terrified will happen if I allow myself to be who I prefer to be? What's the worst possible thing I imagine might happen if I allow myself to be who I prefer to be? Can you answer the question that way? So you're saying, they won't like me if I'm myself. Yes?
Yes.
So what if they don't? Is that what determines whether you like yourself or not?
No.
Well, then why are you doing that? Why are you determining your worth and your likability and your lovability on whether someone else reflects the idea or shows you the idea of likability or lovability? Why does it matter what they think about you when they don't even know who you really are?
I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't. So the question is, why are you making it matter? What do you get out of making it matter?
Nothing.
Well, then
I
why
guess
do you do it?
I get joy knowing that, like, people enjoy me, and if they don't, or if I feel they don't, I feel less.
But pay attention, because none of you do anything you don't believe is benefiting you somehow. None of you. Not for a second. So the question is, what belief have you attached to the idea of them not liking you that you believe actually benefits you? It's a very deep question.
Yeah.
Here's how it works. You all have the same motivational mechanism. You are always, and I mean always, without fail, instantaneously, immediately, you're always going to move in the direction of what you believe is to your benefit. You will always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. Always, without fail. Therefore, if you see yourself moving in the direction, doing things, behaving in ways that don't benefit you, that can only mean you've attached a definition to it that makes it appear to be more beneficial than the alternative. Then you have a definition you can discover. You understand? Then you can find out what that definition is you've attached to that thing. And once you discover what it is, you can unlock that definition from that thing and realize that that definition doesn't serve you, it's nonsensical, it's illogical, you don't need it, you'll drop it, and you will start moving in the direction of your joy, which is what you say you prefer. But if your behavior doesn't follow suit, if your emotions don't follow suit, it's because you're telling yourself a story that to move in that direction will actually be worse than staying where you are as much as you don't enjoy it. Some people don't move in the direction of their highest excitement because they believe that if they do, as painful as it is to be where they are, it's familiar, it's comfortable, and they're afraid that the unknown will contain something worse. So they will stay as far away from that unknown factor as far as they can. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's an interlocked belief system that has no business being locked together. Because it's not empirically true that the unknown contains danger. That's just your definition of it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's important to find the definitions you've attached to your motivational mechanism that is making it work backwards. And once you detach those things, it will flip around and work forwards for you. But you have to find that definition. Is this helping?
Yeah.
So, what are you afraid will happen if you just be yourself? And so what if they say, oh, I don't like you. You're not lovable to me.
I guess it doesn't matter.
No.
No.
Because only what you say goes for you. Yes?
Yes.
And the irony is, you will find that sometimes when you say, they'll say, oh, she's stronger than I thought. I like her.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, start loving yourself enough to be yourself and allow yourself to have your own opinion of yourself, not one built out of other people's opinions of you. Because those are always much more shaky than your own knowledge of who and what you are, and they cannot stand up. And thus you do not have a strong personality when it's built out of other people's opinions. Because those are just their opinions, they're not yours, and they carry no substance for you. It's just an illusion that they do.
Yeah.
Bless you. Yes?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Yeah, that helped me a lot.
All right, well, go forth boldly. And by the way, we love you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you for being bold enough and fearless enough to stand before the group and know that you are worthy of doing so.
I'm not prepared.
You are not prepared for what?
With a question.
Make a statement then.
I would like to thank everyone in this room for being here in this moment in time.
One moment. Your turn. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
And I believe we had a dialogue earlier stating that I wasn't going to be chosen for a question.
And now here you are.
No, here I am to keep me on my toes. So thank
All right. Are you standing on your toes?
you. Yes.
All right.
And,
Is she? All right.
I believe that we are all given divine gifts.
Of course you are. You're all divine. You are divine gifts. It's not something you are given, it's something you are. Because you're made of divinity. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
And I have been doing a lot of inner work.
No, all right.
And
Hopefully not too much effort.
no, with ease and grace.
All right.
And
Yes.
I am unraveling my gifts, and I am a healer.
Oh, all right.
I've discovered that I'm a healer, and I've discovered,
Congratulations.
remembered that I'm a healer, and
Congratulations.
that I am a channel for universal consciousness.
All right.
And
Then go and do with it what you will.
I'm trying. I'm doing my
I
best.
beg your pardon.
I'm doing my best.
All right.
I have 3 small children, so
Yes.
I'm trying to balance
You mean like this big?
5, 3, and 14 months.
Oh, I see. All right.
And I am doing my best and trying to. I'm balancing.
You're doing your best.
I'm doing my best
All right.
in balancing.
Yes. And?
I want to be of service to humanity, but I also
Well, you
want...
are by being yourself and doing your best. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
That's all you can do is your best. If somebody said, I want you to do better than your best, how is that possible? Yes, of course you will always improve. Yes, of course you will change. But at any given moment, if you actually are doing your best, if you are, how can you do better than your best at that moment? It's all you can do. Do your best. In the next moment, if you change, if you know how to do something differently on a different scale, then do your best at that. Of course you will grow. But at any given moment, if you're doing your best, that's the best you can do. And that's all you need to do. That's it. Do you have too many expectations of yourself?
Yes.
Why overburden yourself like that?
I have no idea.
Does it make you think that you're more deserving of whatever it is you achieve?
No.
If you have to suffer for it?
No.
All right. Then why not lighten your load a bit? As we said earlier, lighten up on yourself a bit.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, why not? Any reason? You afraid of something? Afraid of someone saying something, thinking badly of you? If you become
yes.
who you wish to be?
Yes.
Who?
Family.
Well, why would they think that? Why would they think badly of you being who you actually are? Is it because they want you to be someone you're not?
Yes.
All right, well, can I ask you a question?
Please.
Is it possible to be someone you're not?
Yes.
It is? How? Enlighten us. How can you be someone you're not? You can, to use your
Try.
word, try to be someone you're not, but you can't be someone you're not. Go ahead, be someone you're not, right now.
I believe that we are socially conditioned to the point.
Socially conditioned is a fancy word for pattern and habit. And we already talked about pattern and habit. I am socially conditioned. Oh, how good for you. If you know you're socially conditioned, you're no longer socially conditioned.
Thank you.
So, even though your family may not know this consciously, in their hearts, what they really wish for you, in their spirits, in their souls, in their hearts, is for you to be who you truly are. That's how you honor them. That's how you honor yourself. I know that in their physical minds, they may not think that way, but if you are going to be the good daughter, how about you think better for them?
Can you elaborate?
Think better of yourself on their behalf, if they can't do it for you.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Then you will be honoring their legacy, even if they don't know that's what you're doing. Because they really do want you to be who you are, even if they say differently. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Because if you're not who you really are, if you're trying to be someone you're not really part of their family anyway, are you?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
All right. So if you really, really, really want to be of the family, then you need to be who you really are. And by doing that, maybe, no guarantees, but maybe you will act as an example for them to also choose to be more of who they are so they can see you through different eyes. They don't have to choose that. And it doesn't matter whether they do or not. It has no effect on what you choose for yourself. But if you're not really willing to be yourself, well, I'll just put it to you this way. This is not being said this way for the purpose of causing guilt. But if you're not really choosing to be yourself, aren't you kind of throwing the gift of life they gave you back in their face?
Yes.
All right. So, be yourself, no matter what they think, because they're not you and you're not them. You're unique. It's all well and good to listen to them for possible guidance. You may have missed a thing or two, and you might want to hear a different point of view now and then, but it's up to you to decide whether or not a point of view someone gives you is true for you. And if you decide that it's truly not, then it's not. So don't live a lie. Live your truth, or you're not living at all. You're just kind of hanging around. There are many people on your planet who are not dead, but they are wandering ghosts. Flesh yourself out. Be fulfilled. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Does this help you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I don't really know that I have a question. I would like clarification.
About?
My life situation. Once upon a time when I was younger, when I wanted to move somewhere, such as Hawaii and Australia and Papua New Guinea, I just got up and moved without fear and without any thought of consequences.
And now?
And now I'm older, and I want to move back to California and...
How old are you?
65.
What a baby. What a young whippersnapper.
Okay, so I'm just saying...
I am 178.
I know.
So, what is preventing you from moving where you say you prefer to be?
My issue with money, which I
My
always had
issue
that.
with money.
Yeah, I don't have the money. I don't have the desire to move and take risks and just do it and not know what happens like I used to.
All right, then don't.
I know. And that's what I'm doing. And
You have to honor your belief system. If you don't believe your excitement will support you. But all that means is you don't understand what it means when excitement is complete kit. But that's all right.
okay, so that's it.
You have to honor your belief system. Obviously, you're saying you don't prefer to. So let's examine it step by step. What specifically now looks like a risk that didn't look that way before? And what's the difference between now and then?
The stories in my head about California is expensive and I can't find a job and can't support myself, and
What changed?
I didn't think about those things before. That wasn't even an issue.
Then why are you thinking about them now?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Thank you. Oh, I know you do. You have a good answer in there somewhere. What changed? What changed?
Oh, I'd like to cop out and say life experience, but
All right. Well, it's all right. You can say, well, I picked up some ideas along the way.
Okay.
They may not necessarily be in alignment with who I prefer to be, but I picked up some ideas.
okay, I'll go with that.
All right. But if you know that you don't prefer them, why hold on to them? How do they serve you?
They don't serve me.
Well, they obviously must in your mind, or you wouldn't have them.
I'm choosing,
Remember when we talked about the motivational mechanism?
Yeah.
You don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you, even if it's negative. So how does holding on to these things serve you? What does it prevent you from doing so that you don't go somewhere scary? How are you defining something as scary that you didn't used to define that way? What changed? Why did your definitions change?
I'm hearing inside my head that I've just chosen to be comfortable.
Comfortable. All right.
And that's kind of a cop-out.
Well, all right. If you define comfort as a cop-out, although you don't have to.
Okay.
Oh, I see. You're thinking that because you go through different cycles in life, that something is wrong? That it's not okay to suddenly be different and do things in a different way? It's not okay to be comfortable and take a break? And if you're not doing things the way you used to, then somehow you're not living up to your full potential?
Bingo.
Thank you. All right. Well, you know that that is really nonsense. So why buy into that?
Bingo.
You can go through different phases. You can do things differently. Yeah. It's all right if you do them differently than before. As long as they're in alignment with who you prefer to be, that's okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm getting the judgment in being comfortable and not being the doer all the time.
It's similar to the idea on your planet that when people experience depression, they're defining their experience in a negative way and so experiencing it as depression, when in fact all it really is the natural compression that happens when you know you're looking for answers that can't be found out there. So you go to where you know they are, within. And you reevaluate yourself and you redefine yourself and you emerge as a new person, literally. But if you define the idea of going within that way to look for answers as something antisocial, something's wrong with you, you're not outgoing anymore, you're withdrawn, if you start defining that idea in a negative way, even though it's a natural mechanism, you will start to experience the negative effects of defining it that way. And it turns into depression instead of compression.
Thank you.
So this is similar. This is why we say it is so absolutely crucial to pay attention to how you define things. Listen to your definitions. Really pay attention to what's going on. When you have an experience, catch yourself. Catch yourself when you label something negatively. This is different from recognizing, simply objectively recognizing that somebody may be doing something negative, mechanistically speaking. The idea, though, is to catch yourself for not assuming that something is simply automatically negative. Do you understand?
Yes.
And when you have more facility with that, then you will say, wait a minute. I don't have to define this state I'm in now as negative. Let me explore. What kind of ideas can I assign to this that are more positive? Even if they turn out to be created through negativity, if you assign the idea that they're there as being positive, then you'll get some positive benefit out of examining them from that point of view, even if they were created negatively to begin with, as we said. Just neutralize it and give it a positive meaning so you can get the positive effect, because remember, you can't perceive what you're not the vibration of. So you can't be inspired as to how the situation could serve you in a positive way if you're not in a positive state first about it.
Okay.
If you're not in a positive relationship with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So when you find yourself, all right, I'm pretty comfortable here. And when you find yourself going, oh, something must be wrong. I'm now not doing this. I'm now not doing that. I'm doing something different. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? Catch yourself when you start doing that and say, wait a minute, this doesn't have to be labeled like that. Let me see. What positive ideas could there be for me now changing my behavior, changing the way I'm doing things, changing the way I see something? And start inventing positive labels and start applying them. And then you'll start getting the benefit and you'll get the perspective that will allow you to tell the difference between something that is really a negative act and something that might just be unexpected. Okay. An arrow pointing in an unexpected direction instead of being defined as a brick wall that obstructs you. Yes?
Got it.
Helping?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Happy journey.
Good day.
And good day to you.
So a little earlier, a gentleman asked a question about your ships.
Yes.
How they travel. And I believe you said that part of the equation is identifying a vibration at a particular point that you wish to locate to?
Yes. Our perception of the idea of location is different from your typical one. Most people on your planet assume that location is where an object exists. We understand location as one of the properties of the object itself. In other words, if you have an object here and you move it to here, that's a different object.
Okay.
Because now it has a different locational variable in its energy signature. So if you have the object in location A.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Christian. I am from Brazil. And my question for you is, what role does Latin America, I would say Brazil, but Latin America in general, plays and is going to play in the upcoming events, in the upcoming disclosures and proximity of contact between humans and other beings and spirituality in general? So what role are you, what's the importance of this piece of the planet for this disclosure? Thank you.
A lot of it has to do with the indigenous tribes in South America that have had contact with extraterrestrials for thousands of years, and the ability of the information that they already know to come to the surface. So a lot of research needs to be done, a lot of discovery needs to be done, and a lot of listening needs to be done to the stories that a lot of indigenous tribes in South America have to tell about their encounters with extraterrestrials and other dimensional beings, to add their stories to the mix of information and knowledge that humanity needs to access so it can increase its awareness of the existence of extraterrestrials that's been going on your planet for a long, long time.
All right. Hey, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I was curious, are there sentient cats?
All cats are sentient.
Oh, I meant like more like a higher level like we are, or self-awareness, I guess you might say it that way.
They have self-awareness. They just don't need to be anything other than cats with their self-awareness. Animals, in a sense, if you want to look at it this way, are specialists. They use all of their awareness and all of their sentiency and all of their intelligence to be exactly what they are. Humans and some other animals can exhibit some of this, are generalists. And that's why you think the way you do. And that's why you need to be the way you are. Cats don't need to be anything other than cats. Humans need to be many different things. That's what being a human is.
Interesting. And the dolphins that have the ability to travel back and forth between parallel universes, are they from our world? Did they evolve in our world or somewhere else and then come here?
Well, nothing actually came from Earth. Everything, in a sense, came from elsewhere, either through literal, deliberate implantation or through the device you call panspermia. Do you understand that term?
Yes.
So like, everything on Earth came from somewhere else originally. Now, it developed on Earth over time through the evolutionary process. But originally, the DNA that you find exists in all life on your planet came from other places in space.
Got it. Okay. On your world, do you have like an area that's jungle?
We do have lush forests, and there are certain areas that are more what you would refer to as jungle-like. Yes. Mostly around the equator.
Oh, around the equator. Okay. Is it otherwise a mostly arid world?
Ours, no. It is very temperate, very lush, very green, lots of forests, lots of plants, lots of trees. We don't have seasons like you do. It is mostly within a range of about 5 degrees difference throughout the entire year because our axis is not tilted like yours is. Not to the same degree.
Interesting. Okay. Do you have flying creatures that have a kind of long nose and they're very friendly and almost like mammalian? Okay. I'm just curious. And it feels like like when they touch you, it feels like little kisses, like wet kisses.
Well, yes, that's one way I suppose you could describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Are you with your world, are you planning to, like how we had intervention in our world and we're a hybrid species, are you planning to create hybrid species from the animals that live on your world?
No, there is no need to. We are already a hybridized society.
Interesting. And so for you, time doesn't, like you're actually saying that your society from our Earth timeline doesn't exist yet. Is that right?
In the way that you would understand that, that is to some degree correct. Although, again, remember, we're in a completely parallel reality from you. So we do coexist at the same time on a higher level. But from your timeline, we would seem to be thousands of years in your future.
That's interesting. What's the farthest from like our very local timeline? What species is the farthest in the future that you've met?
There are species we have interacted with that are millions of years ahead of you.
Whoa, that's cool. What about the farthest in the past from this very local timeline?
We do not really interact with many species who are too far in what you would consider to be the past, because most of them are not ready yet for that kind of contact. However, there are a few that have been a few hundred years and maybe even a couple of thousand years behind you that developed societies that were open to the idea of open contact long before yours is.
Interesting.
Now, you have had open contact thousands of years in the past in other civilizations, such as Atlantis and so on and so forth. So it's just that, as an example, they developed in similar ways and didn't lose the ability to have that contact and start over again, like Earth did.
That makes sense, yeah. Did the ancient Egyptians have open contact, or by them was it no longer open contact?
Well, yes, it depends upon exactly what era in ancient Egypt you're referring to, but there was early on open contact because many of the beings that are referred to as gods by the ancient Egyptians were actually extraterrestrials.
That makes sense. How do you find the civilizations that you make contact with?
Energetically, vibrationally. We read the vibrations they give off, and if they give off a kind of vibrational invitation that they're getting ready to allow themselves to understand that they're not alone in the universe, then we can begin to explore in what ways we may be able to initiate contact subtly so that we do not disrupt their society. But we will explore it if we feel that the vibration is being given off by that civilization. Sometimes we have to back off when sometimes they may stick their, as you say, toe in the water of exploring that, but sometimes a civilization will pull back from that, and then therefore so will we.
That's really interesting. So how many civilizations again did you personally make contact with?
I have made contact personally with 137.
Wow, that's a lot. And are you actually like representing the whole Federation in some way, or is it just your civilization when you're making contact?
It depends upon who we are making contact with. Mostly it is simply representative of our civilization, but there are times when it is important for us to act in a sort of diplomatic or ambassadorial way for the entire interstellar alliance, depending upon the culture that we are contacting.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Bashar. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. Aveo. Good day.
Aveo.
Good day, Bashar. Thank you. My name is Zach. I was wondering if I'm a part of the hybrid program. And if I am, I was wondering how could I become more aware of my end of the bargain and what my life path is supposed to entail. And thank you.
You are learning your life lessons that your soul put on your path. All you have to do is continue to follow the formula as precisely as possible. You will have more understanding about your role in the hybridization program after open contact when you are able to interact with the hybrid extraterrestrials that have been living and working among your society for quite some time. So just give it a couple of more years, and in the meantime, really act on your passion, really follow the formula as precisely as possible, and you will be better prepared in a couple of years to be able to interact with the extraterrestrial hybrids that have been living and working among your society once they are openly introduced to you. And it is then and only then that it will be really appropriate for you to know exactly what else you can do to fulfill the role that your soul has chosen to participate in the evolution of humanity in this day and age.
Hi.
And to you, good day.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Thank you. So my first question is, I have done a lot of healing work, therapy, spiritual practices, self-reflection, but deep anger still resurfaces from time to time. So
then you don't necessarily believe that you are unaffected by what other people do.
Say that one more time.
You have not developed an understanding or a belief that you are unaffected by what other people choose to do. You still believe that they can affect you without your permission.
Okay.
And that's what makes you angry. You are, in a sense, angry at yourself for not choosing to align with what you prefer, despite what other people may choose in your reality. Remember, this is why we say, if you understand how things work, then it doesn't really matter what happens around you. It only matters what you do with what happens that makes the difference in your experience of your reality. So if you find yourself getting angry because of things going on around you, then you are giving your power over to them to say that what they're doing more accurately determines what you get to experience than you do. You need to reverse that and understand that you cannot be affected by anyone else. You can only match a vibration being offered to you that pulls you out of the state you prefer to be in, but you're pulling yourself out of that state with the belief that you have to match that other vibration just because you experience it or observe it in your reality. Just because you can observe something doesn't mean that you share the same reality. It's like looking through a glass window. You can see what other people may be choosing that you don't prefer, but they can't reach you because they cannot penetrate the glass. If you feel yourself being affected by them, then you have decided to step onto their side of the glass.
Gotcha.
Stay on your side, and you will understand that they can't reach you, and the only way you would experience the things that are representative of what they're doing is for you to agree to match and mirror the vibration that they're giving off that you don't prefer. So why would you choose to do that? Is the question. What are you getting out of doing that? Is the question. Because remember, you don't do anything that you don't believe serves you. So somehow you must still be holding on to a belief that choosing to mirror a vibration you don't prefer somehow is teaching you a lesson that you need. What is that lesson?
How do I effectively transmute it instead of just managing it, or
you're not paying attention,
managing my triggers?
You're not paying attention to what we're telling you. Listen more closely. It's not about managing it. The idea is that you're choosing to do it because you think it serves you somehow and benefits you somehow to go into that state. So you need to answer the question, how am I getting a benefit by going into the negative state?
Okay.
And the way perhaps to figure that out is by asking this question. If I didn't go into the negative state, if I stayed in the positive state that I prefer to stay in, what am I afraid might happen in my life? Can you answer that question? If you remained positive because that's what you prefer, what are you afraid might happen? Are you afraid that you would no longer be relatable? Are you afraid you would lose your friends because you're now too different and don't react like a typical human being? Are you afraid you would leave them behind because you have risen above the need to choose those negative vibrations? Are you afraid that would mean you would wind up being alone? What are you afraid of by remaining positive? That question needs to be answered by you. And once it is answered, you will understand why you might choose to go into the negative vibration to make yourself seem like a part of humanity instead of really actually being a living example of what humanity can become by being your true self, your soul self, and letting them see in you what they could also choose for themselves as well. So if you can answer these questions for yourself, you will understand that it makes no sense for you to continue to choose something you don't prefer, and it doesn't serve anyone to do so.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Are you willing to be of service to others by being your best self, your true self, and choosing only those things which allow you to act as a living example to others of what they could also choose, instead of simply going into anger, which only reinforces the negative choices that they're making? So why would you do that to them? Why would you reinforce the negative choices they're already making by mirroring that vibration instead of something more positive that gives them the option to choose something different?
A good question.
Thank you. I often ask good questions. The only thing is you have to find a good answer for all those questions when you ask them of yourself. So spend some time asking those questions of yourself, and you will find that the answer will come, and you will find the relief that you're looking for.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Can I ask another question?
That was a question, so you just did. Are you wanting to ask yet another one?
Yes, sir.
All right. You don't have to ask if you can ask. Otherwise, you've already asked.
True. So when you can see how artificial and conditioned and performative like society is, how do you avoid becoming detached or exhausted by it while still trying to live fully and joyfully?
Again, watch your definitions. The only time you become overwhelmed or exhausted is a first clue that you are not doing things in the way that works for you, that you're making choices that don't work for you. Otherwise, if you are making the choices that are actually aligned with your true vibration, you never become overwhelmed. You never become exhausted.
It's like I can see that we're in a matrix and I can see the programming.
But it's your matrix. It's your simulation. All it is a matter of making choices that you prefer as opposed to making choices that you don't. And if you make choices that you don't prefer, like we already just told you, figure out what benefit you think you're getting out of making choices you don't prefer by asking the question, if I stopped making choices I don't prefer and started making choices I do prefer, what am I afraid might happen? If you are honest in your self-examination by asking that question, you'll figure it out, and you will let go of the reason that you have created to make choices you don't prefer, because you will see that it no longer makes sense to do so when you realize why you've been making those choices, by understanding what it is you were afraid would happen if you stopped making those negative choices. So it's just a matter of going through that process and answering that question. What am I afraid will happen if I choose something I prefer instead of something that I don't? When you are honest with your answer, everything will fall away and you will awaken and be enlightened to why you've been doing what you've been doing and how you can then realize that it makes no sense to continue to do so. It's all about the why. Why are you choosing to do what you're choosing to do? So you have to figure that out. Ask that question. Investigate it. Yeah. Take the time to do so. What am I afraid will happen if I start choosing things that I prefer instead of choosing things I don't? And understand that you're choosing them. These things just don't happen to you. They happen through your choices. You cannot experience anything if you don't choose to.
Yeah. I just feel like some days I'm living in a video game.
Do you understand what you're doing right now? You are constantly reinforcing the need to choose things you don't prefer by constantly defining it in a way that makes it seem as if you are powerless to make a choice. I feel like I'm in a video game. Where does the feeling come from? The feeling comes from something you already believe to be true, because feelings don't happen in a vacuum. You have to believe something to be true about yourself first, before you can have any feeling about anything at all. So if you have a feeling that you're in a video game and you have no choice and it's just running on its own, ask yourself why you're holding on to a belief that allows you to have that feeling. Because the belief generates the feeling. Trace the feeling back to what you would have to believe is true about yourself and your life to make it seem as if you don't have any control over that feeling. You're generating it by holding on to a belief that generates that feeling. No feeling comes from anything that is not a belief you don't think is true.
That's deep. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. Since I was a child, I've always been very attracted to the idea of elves and goblins and fairies, stories like Lord of the Rings, and Ireland as well. And I know Ireland is very connected to the elementals and nature spirits. And I'm also curious about the seers in ancient Ireland, the Celts, the Druids. And I was wondering if you could talk about Ireland a little bit and why they're so connected to the elementals and maybe where they got their knowledge about magic and Wicca, and where does that come from, Atlantis or ancient Egypt? Any elaboration would be appreciated. Thank you, Bashar.
Yes, it comes from ancient Atlantean practices. The survivors from Atlantis that went into Europe, a lot of them went in to the idea of the northern areas of England and Ireland and continued their practices and understandings of their connections to nature. These were not exactly what you would refer to today as cults, but certain priesthoods that understood astral projection, understood their connection to nature, and they continued these practices in those northern climes after Atlantis was destroyed. It has become sort of forgotten after all this time and is being remembered again at this time. They also went into ancient Egypt, and that is why there may be some similarities between some of the practices in ancient Egypt, as there may be in the northern climes of England and Ireland as well, because again, the survivors from Atlantis spread out throughout the idea of Europe and the Mediterranean and North Africa, and also the Americas as well.
Good day. I'm super excited of our interaction.
As are we. What would you like to discuss?
Amazing. About the formula, I have difficulty with the point of always keeping a positive state no matter what. Because when I feel pain, when someone hurt me, and especially when I am angry, I go out of my center and I become negative.
All right, but then take the time to stop and ask yourself why you would choose to go into that vibration, because you only go into that vibration if you feel that it's actually serving you in some way, shape, or form. So find out why you would think that it actually serves you better to go into a negative vibration than remaining in a positive one, because you would not go into a negative vibration if you didn't have a belief that it was serving you somehow to do so. So you have to investigate yourself and find out what you believe to be true that would make it seem logical for you to choose a negative vibration as opposed to a positive one. Once you find that out, it will no longer make any sense to you to choose the negative vibration, and you will understand that it doesn't really matter what happens situationally. It only matters what you do with what happens that makes the difference in your life. You are still assuming that what happens can affect you negatively, and that's what makes you angry, because you still believe that what happens outside can affect you. It can't. You choose to be affected. That's because you believe that things can affect you. When you understand that you are the one that determines what happens to you and no one else does, then you will stop agreeing with the negative vibrations that others may give to you, and you will stay in a positive vibration because it makes no sense for you to choose anything else.
Amazing. Thank you.
You are welcome.
About what I listen, you usually say, I feel a philosophical paradox about the topic of infinity. If we anyway will experience everything also after this singular life. So which is the meaning of our of what we choose for our action if anyway in the meantime it have an immediate effect, but in the long time we will experience everything of the universe. So where is the free will in this?
Yes. For each lifetime, your soul, with its free will, chooses certain challenges and certain experiences as lessons that it needs to learn for its own soul's growth. But once you go back to spirit, then you are free to choose anything with your free will once again. But once you choose something, you lay out a certain path, and you will follow that path until you are done with it. It's just like going to school. If you have chosen a certain class, then you must finish that class to learn what it is that that class has to teach you. But when you are done with that class, then you can choose anything else that you feel will help you grow in the way that you prefer to. So as a soul, you are unlimited in what it is you can choose to experience. But once you choose an experience, you have to live it through to learn the lesson that the soul decided to learn.
And about this, are we stuck in an eternal prison where we must perceive some experience? We always have to do something without rest?
No.
How is it infinite?
No, you are never stuck. It's all a matter of what you choose as a soul. But once you choose it, then you must live through it because it's your choice. Once you're done, then you are free to choose anything. You are never stuck, ever.
And which is the morality from this point of view? How we can build a system of ethical behavior if anyway, whatever we do can be interpreted, also if it's negative, as a positive effect. Anyway, we will also, after this life, we will continue in spirit. So, for example, killing for humans, for the majority of us, looks instinctively something bad. But anyway, where is the morality of the actions? If we continue as infinite souls.
Again, the idea is to understand what we mean by positive and negative energy. Negative is that which causes an experience of separation, segregation, diminishment. Positive is that which creates an experience of connection, expansion. So it's up to you to decide what you wish to experience. Anything can be used for learning a lesson. But the idea is to also learn that you don't have to suffer in order to learn lessons. That's one of the things that humanity is learning at this time on the planet Earth, is that you can learn your lessons without necessarily suffering. You have to be a living example to others to allow them to see in you what they can also choose for themselves, to go beyond the idea of the limitations of negative choices that allow them to not express who they truly are. This is all about, at this time on your planet, allowing you to express more of your true self, your true soul, through your physical expression, so that you can rise above the idea of negative choices that don't allow you to express who you fully are. So make the choices that are more in alignment with connection and expansion, and you will be more aligned with the majority of existence itself. Because existence is 51% positive and 49% negative, because the middle ground balance is also positive because it allows you the freedom to choose what you prefer. So if you just align yourself with the idea of the freedom of choice to choose what you prefer and act on that and live that way, you will be mostly aligned with the positive flow and direction of the universe that will bring everything you need in life to fulfill the lessons that your soul chose to learn in the most positive, creative, and loving way.
Thank you.
We thank you very much. Good day.
Aveo.
Aveo.
Hello, Bashar and Bashar's team. My question is, a few years back, I was in deep meditation and my eyes were shut, but even though my eyes were shut, I saw bright colors, violet, white, just a variety of bright colors in my vision, assuming coming from my pineal gland. Along with that, I had an experience of complete unity, complete oneness with all of creation. There was no separation. There was an electrical force, almost like a lightning and energy going through my body. And my question is, one, what was this experience? And two, I've gone back into deep meditation before, and it always feels like I get very close to experiencing it again, but I can never quite get there. My second question is, why? Why is it difficult to get back to that experience again? Thank you.
Because you're not the same person now that you were then. So you have to let go of needing to experience it exactly in the same way you did when you were a different person. You need to open up to the new way in which you need to experience these things, which sometimes involves becoming more aware and more conscious of yourself, doing it more consciously and not necessarily experiencing it in the same way that you used to when you weren't as consciously aware of what was going on. So the idea is that it's not just the pineal gland that's involved, but all of the chakras being aligned, vibrating in harmony, in synchronous rotation, so to speak, feeling the kundalini energy of the lightning coursing through your body as you describe it. But the idea is that not to insist on feeling it exactly the same way, but knowing that when you go into your deep meditation, you are actually in the same state. Just allow the state to feel different, knowing you are in the same state because you are a different person who now needs to feel things in a different way. Just know that you're in the same state relevant to the person and relative to the person you now are as opposed to who you used to be.
Hello, Bashar. How are you today?
Good day to you. This day I am perfect, and you?
So I have some questions. The first one is in relation to the spirit guide exercise that you gave back in November. I believe I communicated with my third spirit guide, and the appearance that I associate with them is of a golden carp.
Are you referring to the fish?
Yes.
All right. Well, then this may be indicative of a serious connection.
Oh, okay. Haha. I was like, serious why? But you mean this constellation?
I mean the star, yes.
Yeah. And the star, yes. And then it also has like a dragon aspect.
But dragons represent, in general, in your society, a symbol for the idea of extraterrestrials.
Okay. So an extraterrestrial from Sirius.
Yes.
I've been calling them golden carp. I would love like a better name for them.
Goldfish?
Goldfish? Okay. They're fine with that? All right.
They're fine with anything you wish to call them.
Okay. Well, I have the Itushting Yanka guide and I have the captain guide. So what would be maybe the topic or the theme of goldfish as a guide?
The idea of eternity, longevity, that which lasts, that which is immutable, unchanging, forever, eternal. Like the element gold itself, which never tarnishes and never changes. It is the idea of the indestructible core of your soul. It is eternal and unchanging.
And I'm talking this out loud, so confirm yay or nay if you can. So my choice or my association with this guide perhaps is connected to my desire to communicate the most, let's say, sustainable, authentic messaging that I can that stands the test of time.
Yes, because you have to come from your indestructible core in order to do so. From your golden self.
your golden self. That makes me want to ask the question, for changing core beliefs, is that like a once in a life type of exercise, or do people would you do that multiple?
Well, there may be many core beliefs, but when we say core self, we're not talking about core beliefs. We're talking about your core existence as a soul, your indestructible aspect of source. We're not talking about the beliefs that are relevant for a particular lifetime that may be referred to as core beliefs, which are the ones that are laid out by the soul for the most important lessons that the soul wishes to learn in that specific lifetime.
Okay. Changing topics now. We talked in Midnight Under the Hunter's Moon about language. And we talked about the Atlantean language and how no complete version of it has been found. And I am curious if the Phaistos disc, the Minoan Phaistos disc that hasn't been translated, is part of the Atlantean language.
It is an evolution of it to some degree, yes. But in a sense, closer are the Aztec languages.
Okay.
Still not complete, but the Aztec languages are very close.
Okay. So then the language is like more logographic or symbolic than it is phonetic or alphabetic, or?
They actually had both kinds.
Okay.
Because it was, again, an evolution. Remember that Atlantis existed for thousands of years.
Right.
It wasn't static. It evolved in many different ways, including its language. But the closest representation that still exists are some of the roots of the Aztecan languages, whereas some of their colonies in the Mediterranean, in the Minoan civilization, as you call it, those are evolutionary offshoots much later in time that were colonies of Atlantis, such as on Crete with the Temple of Knossos.
Which where the disc was found.
Yes.
And what percentage of the language would you say that disc represents?
About 15%.
Okay.
The rest is an evolution that then gained changes from the Mediterranean cultures that they interacted with as well. So again, you're looking at another evolution over quite a long time that took the original core Atlantean language and evolved it into something that was more, shall we say, usable for the trade going on with all the different cultures in the Mediterranean. It became literally a trade language.
A trade language.
Yes. A language useful for trading with other cultures.
And did that evolve into, what's the language, Phoenician, the one that we've developed our alphabet from?
Some aspects of it, yes, but it also comes from other places as well, like Sumerian and so on and so forth. Again, you're looking at a lot of hybridization over a long period of time with bits from this civilization and bits from that culture and so on and so forth.
Okay. In terms of like Mu and Atlantis, how does Shangri-La fit into that?
That is something of a different nature. It is something in the Tibetan area that had to do with another dimension entirely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bashar.
You are welcome. Good day, Aveo.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Bashar. This is my question. So I think I am passionate about being on stage and being a performer, a rock star. But I was wondering if maybe it was as well a trauma response in need of external validation. And I was wondering, how do one clarify this subtlety? Thank you very much.
Well, it depends on, again, as you indicate, why you're doing it. It doesn't mean you can't go into music. Let's say, don't insist on the way in which it expresses itself. If you are passionate about music, then just do what you can to act on your music. Don't assume that you have to become a rock star. That might be true, but it also might be the idea of needing external reflection for validation. You have to be honest about why you would need that experience. If you don't really need it and are really purely interested in acting on your passion for its own sake, then naturally, if you need to become a rock star, you will simply naturally become one. But if you find that you are insisting that that has to be the outcome, then there is something about that that might be representative of the need for external validation. Just perform your passion for its own sake purely and see where it leads. Remember that if you're acting on your passion, you don't really care where you wind up or how it expresses itself because you are having fun acting on your passion, no matter what the expression of the outcome might be.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
So I know everyone's looking forward to hearing all these great questions that have been submitted.
All right.
The first question, when an old system is collapsing, is it better to build the new system to replace it while the old one is still on its way out, or wait until the old one collapses fully and the dust settles?
Of course, it's always more efficient to start creating a new system so that the time it takes to replace the old system when it collapses isn't as long. So you're not lost in limbo, wondering what's going to happen. So by all means, don't hesitate to use your creativity to create new systems that will replace the old ones once they fall apart.
And this person
adapt. You can always adapt. You can always course correct. You can always finesse the new system once the old system goes away, but have the basic system ready to go.
Okay, and this person is saying they find themselves excited about first contact and wanting to help, but also afraid. Can you help them understand those emotions?
Well, again, there may be many reasons why people react in fear to the idea of open contact. As we have already explained, the exposure to a higher frequency being can make one feel like one is disoriented, disconnected from their reality because they're being introduced to a different reality. It can translate sometimes as if the person is going to die just because the higher vibration of some extraterrestrials may be akin to the vibration of spirit, and exposure to that frequency may make your personality think that it's about to go into spirit or die. And so you react with survival mode, fight or flight, but also because exposure to the higher frequency may bring to the surface things that you're not ready to face within yourself. So you're uncertain about how you will integrate what you will experience, the changes that will happen to you personally and your society, and how things may be very different and you may not feel ready to handle those things. But generally speaking, remember, extraterrestrials will conduct open contact in a way that will give people a chance to adapt, a chance to allow themselves to get used to the idea. Now, that doesn't mean that some people won't still react with fear, but the idea is that it's going to take a process. It's going to take some time. Some people may adapt quickly. Some people may adapt more slowly, but you will have at least a couple of decades to get used to the idea that interacting with extraterrestrials and all that implies is a choice. So you're being given the opportunity to recognize that you are now having a new choice. It's not something that will be forced on anyone, so you can relax about that, but you will have the choice to interact with extraterrestrials at your own pace. So it won't be something in any way, shape, or form that you will have to do right away if you don't prefer to.
And what will happen to the entertainment industry on our planet after first contact? Will we still make movies, TV shows, music, theater? They're wondering how that will change. They will change our entertainment.
Well, a lot of it will be technological. In other words, you will have access to holographic technology so that perhaps it will be a more immersive experience. You will be, so to speak, in the movie, interacting with the characters. You can see the advantage in some way, shape, or form. This has been represented in some of your science fiction scenarios, like the Star Trek holodeck, where you are a character in a movie with the other characters, playing out scenarios, learning lessons, so on and so forth, having experiences, having adventures, as if they are actually taking place in the physical reality, even though they're not. So it's kind of like a more creative and safer way to explore many things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do in physical reality, at least not right away. The idea of general content is up to your continued ability to create stories. There can be new stories involving new ideas that may not have existed prior to open contact, but nevertheless, it will still be the same basic things of learning lessons, the same basic things of relating to one another, learning new skills, having new adventures, having new experiences. So you will just adapt your storytelling prowess and creativity to the new technologies you will be offered after open contact.
And what is the difference between conspiracies and disclosure messages?
Well, most conspiracies may spin stories beyond what is actually factual. In other words, you let your negative side of the imagination run wild and start believing in things that haven't in any way, shape, or form actually got any kind of physical, factual backup evidence or proof to them. The idea of disclosure is there's enough evidence to support the idea that information has been being withheld from your society. So that's actually something you can demonstrate over time as an actual fact. There's enough evidence, even in a court of your law, to demonstrate that. Conspiracies usually are not necessarily in any way, shape, or form evidence-based. They are just fully the resource of exaggeration from the negative side of the imagination with absolutely no backup.
Okay, and you've mentioned that extraterrestrials are already working with our scientists and politicians behind the scenes. Is this something tangible, meaning are actual meetings where both parties, humans and non-humans, are sitting at a table and talking?
Yes, and doing more than that, working together on technological ideas, so on and so forth. So yes, there are actual conversations and interactions taking place between them for certain projects, yes.
And which species, which group of extraterrestrials would that be?
Some Pleiadian, some hybrid, some gray, a few other things.
Okay, and this person wants to know, when is the earliest one of us could take a ride on an ET spacecraft?
Somewhere between open contact and 2050. I cannot say for each and every individual when that time may come, but this will become more and more available to humans as the decades unfold, as your society and extraterrestrial societies become more integrated. It will become more available over time. For each individual, that will be a personal timing.
Okay, and could you give us some tips on how to manage our impatience and curiosity regarding this new cycle that seems to be unfolding? This person's feeling a mix of anxiety and excitement, and they want to know how to prepare themselves and how to be of service.
Just follow the formula. Live your life in the best way you possibly can. Be of service to others by sharing your gifts. Impatience, remember, is thinking that something better is going to be happening than what's happening in the present. Nothing is more important than what's happening in the present, whatever that is, because that's where your lessons are found. That's where your challenges lead you to grow. So stay focused in what's going on. Act on your passion in service to others to the best you possibly can. Then everything will fall into place. That's all you have to do.
Okay, and regarding the holographic recording of Earth's history, will that tell just the ancient history or will it include our modern history as well?
Everything up to the present. And even the possibility of some probabilities of the future. Because these recordings are, in a sense, able to tap into what you call the Akashic records, which actually contains past, present, and future probabilities. So the idea is that it will be perhaps more relevant to your mindset to think of it as recordings of the past, of things that have already happened, but it can also be utilized as a technology to determine what might be the best courses to take in examining and exploring the idea of future probabilities as well.
And what about things like crimes that have happened, corruption, war crimes? Will any of these things be like consequential secrets that are revealed through that process?
On certain occasions, some of that may be included, but it's more about the idea of recording of outward events, whatever actually appeared to happen physically in your reality, more than the idea of what may have been internally withheld by individuals. Now, there may be some instances when people may have, in a sense, outwardly discussed certain things that were secret that may have the ability to be recorded. But again, it's not so much about the idea of consequential secrets as it is more about the idea of what it is that you would consider to be outward appearing history.
So, for example, the Kennedy assassination, is that something that would be revealed accurately what had actually happened, or?
Yes. Every aspect of that was recorded.
Okay. And what do the ETs think of humans that are extremely religious? Is it off-putting to them?
It's not that it's off-putting. It's just that we understand that different people may require different kinds of permission slips to allow them to move forward in life in certain ways, although we simultaneously understand that many religious doctrines can be quite limiting to a person's ability to make their own personal connection to spirit. So it's just something we observe that we would generally consider to be not necessarily the most efficient way to connect to the idea of your personal space or relationship with source. But at the same time, we also recognize the importance of permission slips for certain people who simply do not necessarily know any other way to get in touch with those things that may matter to them on that level.
And how can we recognize during open contact whether an extraterrestrial being is benevolent, like the Pleiadians, or maybe not well-intentioned, who would have domination in their plan? We want to be able to discern so we're not misled during that phase.
Any misleading would come from your own people, not from the extraterrestrials. The beneficial extraterrestrials are keeping anyone that is not beneficial to Earth at bay. So you don't have to worry about that. So any deception would be coming from your side, not from the extraterrestrial side.
And some people are saying that a scare event will happen to wake up humanity and usher in a new era. Will this scare event actually occur? And if so, why would a scare event help to wake up humanity instead of taking over our media and explaining everything to us calmly?
It's not about the idea that there is a scare event. It's about the idea, it's a way of interpreting the understanding that some people will react negatively to the idea of open contact. They may scare themselves. So it's not that it is a planned scare event so much as it is that there might be a lot of scare reaction from certain people who are not in alignment with their true selves.
Okay, and can someone be in direct connection with the mantis beings and communicate with them? Or are they like spirit guides, or do they just
they're not
chime
spirit
in?
guides. They're not spirit guides. Yes, you can connect with them.
Why would someone feel a deep connection to the mantis beings?
For a variety of reasons. Why do you feel a deep connection to anything? It may be because you are on a life path where it's important for you to make that connection. It may be because you have encountered the spirits of those beings when you yourself were a soul and understood that this is all laid out on your life path to interact with one another and therefore feel some sense of familiarity with them. Because again, remember, as a soul, all beings in a sense are sort of the same. Therefore, there really isn't much difference between you, the soul that you are, and the soul that a mantis being is. It's just that it's a different presentation in physical reality. But you may still recognize the similarity and the connection you have from soul to soul, no matter what form the being may take physically.
Okay, and why do we feel an increasing sense of urgency in our evolution when time doesn't actually exist?
This is a misunderstanding that many humans have when they take it to extremes in terms of the concept of time. Time does exist in linear reality, in physical reality. Of course you experience the idea of time. To say it doesn't exist is to not even pay attention to what's happening in your physical reality. Yes, on higher levels, it's not experienced the same way. It appears not to exist the same way that it is experienced in physical terms. But that doesn't mean, quote unquote, time doesn't exist. Of course you experience time in physical reality because that's the very definition of physical reality. It is a linear space-time experience. So you have to be more aware of how you're using and understanding that terminology. The overall idea from the highest level is that time is not experienced in the same way that you do. Everything seems simultaneous. It appears as if there is no linear time. But the idea is that as you create the physical experience, you have to create the experience of time in order to have that. So it's not that it doesn't exist. It's just that it exists in different ways based on the level that you're coming from.
Okay, and you've spoken about the idea of the splitting prism. Can you tell us when the splitting prism transition is completed? Like, when will it be in a reality where you're not seeing wars and people fighting, etc.?
Somewhere between your year of 2050 and 2100. The decade between 2050 and 2060 will be known historically in the future as the decade of dreams, when humanity finally realizes its evolutionary path, realizes the opportunities laid out before it by interaction with extraterrestrials, becoming members of the galactic family. And therefore, that decade from 2050 to 2060 will propel humanity forward in a way where the idea of experiencing the version of Earth that you're talking about will continue from that point forward to grow and increase and expand. And then by the year 2100, you will find that it will be fully realized in that way. Now, again, it can happen a little sooner than that, but we're giving you an open window in which it will occur at the absolute latest. It can happen sooner, but 2100 would be the absolute latest. Depends on the choices that you make as to exactly when in that half century it will crystallize in the way that you're talking about.
And along with that, the idea of male dominance over the planet as it currently stands, will that change commensurate with what you're describing as a necessary feature of peace?
Of course, there will be more balance in humanity, more equality in humanity, and therefore there will not be dominance of one thing over another. It will all work out collaboratively, cooperatively, balanced.
And is it very probable that new technologies such as free energy and true intelligent devices will be developed prior to when contact is disclosed, or?
No, after. Because again, remember that open contact is imminent. in the next couple of years at the most. Therefore, you will find that there will be an acceleration of these things after open contact when extraterrestrials can more openly assist humans with the discoveries that you're talking about.